And hello, everybody. Welcome to our top 8 GEMPC event. I am Dan Tartaglia, also known as Detour Tag 1, coming to you live. Tonight we have the man who has the plan when it comes to all things Star Wars CCG. Wait, you're not Chris Schoenthal.
I am not. I
You are
mean,
not,
I got the hat, I got the beard. I'm the backup tournament advocate for a reason. I gotta pull off the look.
but you are our good friend, Garrett Larson. Tonight we have the last of our top 8 games. It is Jeff Lavigne on light side versus Chris Wirfs on dark side. The table is set. Let's go ahead and get into it. What do you think? Okay, so we got Endor Ops. Not a lot of surprises there for
Nope,
Wirfs
that's and
versus,
QMC.
again, no real surprise. In all honesty, no real surprises from either player. What do you think
Oh,
about the
so
matchup?
it's speed Endor ops as we see the surface defense.
Oh,
Um,
that's not, I don't like that if you're Jeff.
and I was gonna say I think Chris is probably much more concerned. Like if you're Jeff, you look at this and go, all right, so he wants to spread and try and drain for a bunch, but he doesn't necessarily have a ton of power to come after me. He doesn't have the power to really come after me in space, and his ground is mostly little troopers that I can work around. Jeff just has to do the all right, I'll get menace fades in play, and I'm fairly content with that.
I'm not disagreeing with you there. However, what I am disagreeing with is the early pressure that Chris is going to be able to put on Jeff. It feels like to me it's going to be a lot.
It's very possible that if Chris gets the right start, and we see Jeff just pulled the wild card, which absolutely has to slow Chris's start down.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
that that's a huge get for Jeff because Chris can't just drop any ship at Endor, drop a couple dudes and go for it
Correct. Yeah.
nearly as comfortably. Like now he's got to have barrier, he's got to have projective, and he's got to consider those things. But as I said, I think frankly, if I'm Jeff, I'd rather probably face this than a standard strong Endor ops
I mean,
that's able to get Boba Fett and Ozzel to Bespin on turn 2 and
true, but you also have
start
to think you also
pressuring
gotta
space.
consider the fact that like Jeff has had probably a lot of experience against that Endor Ops deck, being that he's on uh Team 5.
Oh, I'm sure Jeff has played it more than enough times to know the line he wants to take.
Hmm.
Has Chris played it enough on this matchup to know the line he wants to take?
I mean, Chris is no slouch himself. Chris is one of those players who he's always going to be there for a top 8 any event like he attends. He's got multiple top 8s in his back pocket, whereas Jeff already has multiple wins under his. So I think
I
this.
mean, you don't get to the top 8 of the GEMPC without being a very capable and competent player.
I mean, Logan made the
Like,
top 8.
yeah. And Logan's as much crud as we give Logan, and trust me, we give Logan a lot of guff.
We do.
Logan is a good player. Logan probably, I don't think Logan's as good as Logan thinks Logan is,
Well, nobody thinks Logan as good as Logan
but
thinks he is.
Logan
But
is a good player and he is someone who, is legit. And honestly, it looks like Chris might have played this matchup enough to have an idea as he went
hmm
Emperor's Shuttle. He used the Ominous Rumors pull to get the Emperor
yeah, and
and stuck him up at Endor.
he's got Oswald already. So You have essentially the possibility of multiple destinies. You can also limit your opponent if you need to, but never mind.
Ozil to the
Ozil's in the bunker.
bunker is oh, that's why I was gonna say that's a choice, but he had the established secret base in opening
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
And he may be sitting on a barrier. Like this
Well,
deck traditionally is running multiple barriers, multiple projective telepathies.
well, the other thing is not only that, it costs an extra force for Jeff to go down to the indoor system just because of the
Yep.
indoor system game text. So it costs him,
So the wild card will cost 4.
yeah, the wild card will cost 4. Anybody you put onto it, it costs a normal amount, but
Yep.
that's a lot of force. And like you said, he's probably got some sort of evasion already. And the other thing is, Chris wants to do a lot of quick and just dirty damage. And this allows him to do that with that first turn play. And he's already now, and Jeff wants to do QMC things. He wants to get out the Overseer plus Harksef to Bespin. You don't want to go to Endor with those two ships
No.
or
And
that ship.
honestly, like, here's the thing Chris's start is actually kind of slow for the deck because he's not threatening a battle order safe drain.
Hmm.
He's threatening a drain of 2 he's going to pay 3 for. And
But if you're
Jeff with a
Jeff,
couple
I was going to say if you're
cards from
Jeff,
hand as well.
yeah,
Like,
Jeff had like multiple sites in his opening hand clearly. The other thing is, if you're Jeff, do you pull another shield here because you've already pulled two?
but what else are you going to be pulling? I think you have
Some
to
sort of.
think.
I think you got to pull a sense shield with the Emperor already there. But okay, he does pull battle
I think you
plan.
pull aim high because this deck actually is running some biker scouts.
Hmm.
So
And
Jeff's
Jeff,
also picking some up.
after
I
he,
actually think that's a good start for Jeff.
I'm not disagreeing. I mean, he saves one force. The Emperor and the shuttle is already at Endor, so that's the biggest threat in space for Chris at this point. So being that that's on the table already, you know that that's not going to come down against your Hark Seth. So, and even if he doesn't have a barrier, what if he has a rescue in the clouds?
Yeah, like I don't think Chris can contest the Overseer. In all honesty, I don't know that I would have hated Chris waiting on that Emperor's shuttle for a turn and just dropping
Hmm.
whoever at the bunker to get that flip and saving that for next turn and going, here's Emperor shuttle, Ozil. I'm going to force you to have it the whole time.
And we see that Jeff does take a drain or two at the indoor system. He loses computer interface from his hand. Not a big deal. That's your starting interrupt. But more importantly, he loses I don't like sand. That's a card you actually want kind of in this matchup.
You do and you don't. I mean, I don't know that Chris is going to want to move the Emperor's shuttle to Bespin. That's the battle I'm most worried about him drawing multiple battle destinies with. The only other thing would be if Chris saves up and goes for a Phasma plus Trooper beatdown
Hmm.
somewhere on Cloud City, and I just don't know
Oh,
that that's feasible. Like
okay.
there's too many ways for Jeff to stop that battle. And
And
we
we
see the intensify the Forder batteries
make sure.
Admiral order.
Yeah.
So all his non-pilots come down cheaper, correct?
Well, just as
So
warriors. They have to be
yeah,
warriors.
non-pilot warriors to deploy -1
And
and
forfeit
forfeit
plus one.
+1.
Yeah.
That's less important than the deploy -1
Yeah, the deploy
because
minus
now
one
he
is
can
huge.
drop his troopers real
Hmm.
cheap.
Yeah, and he can essentially spread on Endor at this point with the back door. I mean, that's a drain. That's going to be a drain of two.
And
Yes,
that's what he needs to do.
and the clearing is normally a drain of two, at least until Jeff finds Menace Fades, which you think he's going to set up at some point. Admiral Mahdi
Yep.
onto the personal shuttle. That's fine.
Yeah, I think if I'm Jeff, I'm probably trying to set up Menace Fades quickly, but at the same time, Menace Fades right now is only going to save him one force.
Yeah.
Like the backdoor and Endor system are both naturally drains of two.
Yeah, it's now with the back door, you could essentially move the Ozzel to the back door during your move phase, but Jeff decides not, or I'm sorry, Chris decides not to do that.
Chris is sitting on some sort of evasion or a reacting trooper,
Yeah, him saving three
and
is very telltale.
he's fine with Ozzel sitting at the bunker, giving him +1 activation.
And here we go.
And
Jeff,
here's, yeah, Jeff's going to try and flip. And a lot of this, I'll be honest, a lot of this is going to come down to, can Jeff get and keep Celebration in play?
agreed. Do you like him going with Jar Jar to Cloud City? Because Jar Jar has the capability of going to the bunker.
But what's Jar Jar going to do once he goes to the bunker?
Misa
He's
things.
either going to blow up Ozzel, or you're talking about trying to drop a bunch of guys on Ozzel who, you're sitting on a barrier or two. We've already said we're sitting on some sort of barrier. It slows down your flip.
Hmm.
And the best it does is locks you into a drain of one.
He's probably not running the masterful move combo.
I would bet he is. I'd be very
Or
surprised if
maybe
he's
he
not.
is. Oh, it's CTO. You can't run it.
Yeah, we don't have deck lists for this,
We
Joker King.
don't.
This is the first round of the top 8, so these are all blind for the players and blind for us as well, although I've said before I prefer to kind of keep it blind. So we don't know if he's running masterful move combos. I'd be very surprised if he's not, simply because he doesn't have the space power to knock out Celebration another way.
Uh, he might. Well, I mean, there is the
He
one.
might, and he could be running blast points, and I wouldn't be shocked if he was doing some sort of a combo of blast points and masterful,
Hmm. Agreed.
because if you're doing battles, you do expect to win battles with this deck. Like, it battles, this dark side actually can battle very efficiently,
Hmm. Yeah.
because like Barrage right there is
Beast.
Barrage is hard to deal with,
Extremely. And I
you
mean,
know.
and again, Jeff putting Lando on Cloud City already, Din Djarin, those are two of the best characters he has in this deck. And again, they're already on the table.
But you don't want to go after
No, if you're Chris,
Jeff.
you just want to sit there on or on Endor, do your thing until, and you just want to make sure that you have enough stuff to make it so that Jeff can't do what he wants.
And realistically, at this point, it is Jeff, as he lost Ayla and Figrin Dan. The
That,
Figrin's actually going to be a big one.
yeah, agreed. That's extra
Like,
retrieval.
Jeff right now, he needs to get Celebration in play. He needs to get Watering Hole in play. And if he gets that, he's perfectly fine. Like, if he
Hmm.
gets that and he can keep that in play for any amount of time, he's ahead on this game. Because that's what I said. Chris started aggressively. I don't think Chris started as aggressively as he necessarily could have.
Agreed, and I don't
Like,
think you wanted
getting
to.
that flip was fine. I would not have minded at all waiting the flip for a turn and putting Ozzel at the docking bay and getting an extra drain of one.
And there's Navy Trooper Fenson, who adds 2 to the deploy cost of all of Jeff's characters, unless they're Ewoks, spies, or scouts.
Jeff is the closest Jeff is going to come to Endor is Jeff might go to the system.
Yeah, and we saw that
Jeff
he
is
did.
not putting anyone on the site.
Yeah, and we did see that he went ahead and got Bo-Katan's gauntlet with the local defense combo, which is interesting
Yep.
because he went out and got that. However, he didn't lose it to a drain instead of losing a card off the top of his reserve deck.
He's going to go after space. Like Jeff's alternate win condition here, the other way Jeff wins this is by clearing space. If he's got the
Yeah,
card that suspends Palpatine, that
yeah, that's a
blanks
big
the
card. That is a huge card in this
like
game.
if
There's
he's
not.
got that and he just says, all right, here's
Uh,
Bo-Katan's ship with Bo-Katan, which is
Insertion planning.
also no the new V card. I
Pretty
don't
sure it's an
remember
Endor.
which
It's an Endor card. I know that. I think.
critical error revealed.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yep,
or a
you're
Death
right.
Star 2. It was one of the two. It's like either Endor or Death Star 2.
Yeah. Joker King, it could impact off the edge. And if this
Uh,
was 1998 and people were still playing off the edge, maybe it
or the
would.
retro. Or the retro.
Yes. No, I think Chris is playing this exactly as he wants to. I think Jeff is playing this start about how
Wow.
he wants to. Chris is being very aggressive because that's
Yeah.
definitely the way he wins this.
And,
So,
and I
and
agree. If Jeff has insertion planning, that card is not going to be good for Wirfs because you suspend the Emperor, which loses the full immunity. Uh, Mahdi is only a forfeit value
body
of
forfeits for
5.
5.
So if you hit
So
like a
you
six,
still need
yeah,
to get a 6, which is not necessarily easy. QMC is not known for having super high destiny.
true.
You know,
However, there are ways to do it. You have Ray plus Ancient Watering Hole is the
yeah,
best way to do it.
but he's still 2 aliens away from Ancient Watering Hole, and
Yeah.
Bo-Katan would not add one to that because he's already got a Mandalorian out there in Din.
Yeah.
So, and he doesn't have Watering Hole on table.
Yeah,
Like
and he's only pulling one card a turn with his keeping
Jeff,
the Empire out
unfortunately,
forever.
needs 3 or 4 cards to make this close, and there's a chance Chris burns him for enough he doesn't get there.
Oh, agreed. Because right now, Chris is threatening without Menace Fades a lot of damage. He's threatening six, seven, eight,
He's threatening
nine,
9 damage.
9 damage. Menace Fades only saves Jeff 2.
Yeah. Menace Fades would make it 7. Like, honestly, if I'm Jeff, the only way I'm taking Menace Fades is if I can't get anything else that advances my play. Because right now, I think what Jeff needs is a pilot for Bo-Katan's ship so he can try and go after the Emperor's
Yeah.
shuttle. He needs that critical error revealed because without it, I don't think you can go after the Emperor's shuttle. And he needs Watering Hole
Yeah. He needs a lot of
and a couple
cards.
more aliens. Like he needs a lot. He needs to have a lot in that 9-card hand.
Hmm.
Really, it's 8 cards plus Bo's ship.
Exactly. And
And
again,
the upside, so Bo's ship, when it's piloted by Bo, is immune to barrier and cancels barrier. But that first play of the ship does not cancel barrier.
yeah.
So
And
it's possible he still could eat 7 before anything goes through.
yeah, but I doubt, like you said, you doubt that we're going to see Bo-Katan. I mean, I don't think I've seen a QMC that actually runs Bo-Katan yet.
Yeah, which means you are going to eat the barrier potentially.
Hmm.
And we see Jeff just, hey, I'm going to drain you back for 4, which is great if he can get like celebration. Because frankly, all of Chris's biggest power is currently on Endor. The only thing Chris can threaten now in terms of really trying to hurt Jeff on Bespin would be Phasma,
And a
would be
bunch of
some sort of
yeah.
Phasma trooper beatdown.
Yeah, and I do think,
And
okay,
I just don't know if that's happening. There's Leia in front of Ozzel, which
it's
is
cute.
actually all right. Well, so she's only going to be able to cancel 1 drain because one of the little known or very little used things is, well, at each Endor site where you have a biker scout, your force drains may not be modified or canceled by opponent except by a react. So
Oh,
Leia's
good
not
call.
actually. Leia is only going to cancel that Vader
Yeah.
text. I had to read the objectives. I'm like, I thought it was something about only by a react. So,
I wonder if Jeff realizes that.
um, I think he
Okay.
probably does. And there's the watering hole. He is still one species short.
Yeah, Lando does not have a species.
Nope.
Space Pimp is not a species.
It's it just because it works every time does not actually mean it's going to work for him. Um, and I think Wirfs right now is deciding if he wants to react with that trooper.
Yep,
Yep.
there's the trooper.
And he may still, I would not be opposed to him still throwing out like here's a projective. There's trooper assault, so he's not going to lose the trooper. Jeff grabs that.
I don't think that's the right grab. I mean,
Um,
I know it adds to the power, makes your trooper immune to attrition, but I don't think that's the right grab there.
I tend to agree because I don't think Jeff should be getting into that many battles. I
Yeah,
don't think Chris is necessarily going to come after him much. And I think
and
Jeff,
without that card, like that
yeah,
card,
like
this just
until
makes
Jeff
it.
can get celebration in play, Chris is just going to ignore him and be totally fine with it.
Yeah, and Cal Foul
And
doesn't do
he
anything.
fails the Cal foul, so he's going to have to lose Cal,
Yeah,
which also stops now it puts him back to 2 species short of watering hole.
yeah.
And he's facing a drain of 8. I mean, he can
Well,
cancel the 1-2 with Leia.
yeah. So it would be a drain of 6.
Yeah, but that's still a bunch of force.
Yeah, and especially now knowing that one of the Cloud City celebrations are in your use pile.
But he's activating 17 next turn, so he's going to activate to it.
I'm not saying, yeah, but the question is, what else is he going to lose in between now
Yeah.
and then?
What does he lose, and then what is he giving up to go get it via keeping that he
Because
can't get something else then?
you're also going to think that Chris is not going to let Leia just sit there.
Oh no, Leia's going to get Leia is going to face the full wrath of the Imperial Navy.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
sort of expecting this is where you see here's Phasma, and that it said Jeff did save 3, so we could very likely see either barriers or an it's a trap.
and I think, yeah, and it depends on like if he does take a card from his force pile at any point between now and the battle for the Issa trap.
You don't.
Yeah, I don't think you do,
You you
and I
you
agree.
you threat. I think you hold everything in your force pile unless you're sitting on 3 barriers. And honestly, even if you're sitting on multiple barriers, I think if you've got it's a trap, you've got to.
You almost
I think
have
you
to hold
bluff
it.
the it's a trap.
Yeah,
The only card I would barrier would be Phasma. I would barrier Phasma because she's really the beatdown engine.
I mean, the thing is though, even if you don't barrier Phasma and Chris deploys to multiple troopers, the fact that I mean Leia's going to get outpowered and it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, but Phasma is the scariest part of it.
And here we go, 9's coming
Yeah.
down.
And it looks like
There's a barrier.
he did not. Okay, so I'm just checking here. Did he not drain at the Dark
No,
Forest?
no, he didn't.
Okay, so he didn't.
That's
So
Chris being
Chris
smart.
said, and yeah, with the barrier, which got grabbed but then not canceled.
Yeah, I don't think
Now,
you're worried. Like the fact that it's grabbed. Jeff took a card from the force pile. This is not
yeah.
good for Jeff. There's Corporal Drazen.
Well, with it being grabbed, he could not have played a second one, so
Well,
he was
true.
going to get one off. I think 9s was not the right. Okay, well, he apparently didn't have much else. I don't think 9s was necessarily all that important to barrier.
True. But
Like you had to assume he was going to have 2. I'd have let him have 9s. You're fine.
yeah.
It's
But what's going to happen now is we're probably going to see we should see a trooper assault here. No trooper assault.
no
Mara
he
Jade.
didn't want to pay for the trooper assault or was fine with worst case scenario, he
just
loses both of those guys and
you're
he
just
kills
getting rid of
Leia.
Leia. Yeah, but now you're only getting rid of one.
Yeah, which is almost immaterial. I can't
Yeah,
envision Jeff trying to attack ground again.
yeah.
Like the only spot he could go at would be Barrich, who Chris already pointed out in chat. Dresselin would deploy as a react to Barrich's site, and then you're just crying.
Oh yeah.
So I think at this point, Jeff's gotta do two things. He's got to start cranking the damage, simply to lower differential, if anything, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And he's got to take Endor.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Like at
And
this point, I almost think if I'm Chris, I'm willing to say, stack pilots on the wild card to move it over
yeah, and he does
and
retrieve a
threaten.
trooper.
Yep. And so there's the aim
And
high
yeah,
that.
a little too late.
Yep. I mean, he got one free retrieval off. And that might have been, Jeff just not realizing he'd lost a biker scout trooper.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is. Chris is drawing a bunch, but I mean, he's still got 19 cards down, and he could
Yeah, he's
very
got a
easily.
13 card hand. He's only losing 4.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Chris is in a really, really good spot. And a lot of it is
Chris
because
played the first turn a little bit slowly, but he played subsequent turns very aggressively and quickly, and
Mhm.
he's threatening a ton of damage
Yeah,
that Jeff's got to stabilize here. Like, again, Jeff's got 9
that
cards in hand. He's grabbing something with keeping. I mean, at this point, it almost has to be, here's Celebration, here's 2 more aliens, and now I need to figure out how to, if nothing else, go block that Endor drain.
yeah, because the Ender Drain would at least save him 2, where he's still taking 7.
Yeah, like
So,
there's just so much damage here that Cloud's, I mean, he can potentially stabilize. If he can get Celebration, if Chris doesn't have the canceller, Jeff can start to stabilize, because at that point, it's okay, you're draining me for, assume you can take Endor and at
oh,
least keep the space drains to a 0, then you're like, okay, you're draining me for 7, I'm retrieving 3 or 4, and I'm doing a bunch back. Like,
yeah. I mean, the
you
other
at
thing
least
is
start threatening, but this
if
is not good.
no, now if Jeff has Menace Fades here, plus he can keep Bestman secure. Like if he has a ship at Bestman, keeps his dudes on Bestman, Menace Fades, that will reduce the 2 drains down to 1, and then if he blocks the drain of Endor, that saves him 4 force.
Yeah, but again, then he's got to have Menace Fades. He's got to have at
But
least a
again,
couple
it's
pilots
just
for the wild card.
it's all those
Like,
pieces. Yeah.
how many of those pieces does he have right now?
And
Because he really needs a bunch of them.
Jeff is in the tank right now thinking about what he wants to take. Because again, you said it the last turn. He activated to the Cloud City Celebration, so we know that he
Yeah.
is able to take that. Okay, so he does decide on the card.
And honestly, I could see, because Trooper Assault got grabbed, I could see him drain and drop Celebration, and Wirfs just immediately cancel it,
Oh, 100%.
and Jeff go a little bit on tilt. Like, I think Jeff is. I like Jeff a lot. Jeff can get flustered.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jeff is flustered right now.
Yeah. I mean, I like Jeff too.
Because I think that Leia battle was not good.
No.
I just don't think it was a good plan at all. And I think Jeff is flustered. Why would you not cancel it immediately, Joker King? Because you'd want him to, you think he could play another? Isn't it unique?
It is.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
when you cancel it. He has no
I doubt
other
he's
way to
playing
retrieve
Utah.
it. Yeah, Unita is wildly unlikely to be in this list.
Yeah, Joker King. If he's playing Unita, I will gladly pay for your entrance at an event.
I was just going to offer you a beer. So, if he drops Unita here, you might have to come out to Columbus so
Yeah.
Dan can buy your way in and I can get you a beer. So,
Yeah. Speaking of which, Columbus again. It was August. The last weekend on August.
yeah,
Again, that is look.
22nd, 23rd, 24th, something in that neighborhood.
Yep, it is the U.S. Nationals. All I know is the basement crew is putting together one heck of an event. So uh, please come out and support and show your support to those guys for what they're doing in the background. It is looking like it's going to be one of the biggest non-worlds majors ever.
It's going to be big. And Carl streamed with me yesterday for, the top four games. And it was a blast. And he was talking about some of the options. And there's the barrier on Bo-Katan's ship. We saw Yachts get to the corridor. I don't love that. Like,
Uh,
honestly, put Yakskit at the docking bay and move on. You have to play this very aggressively. A
oh,
concussion missile is
I like it.
spicy.
I like that.
That's
Good barrier by Wirfs. Like being able to recognize, I kind of think of like what Jeff is doing. But again, I do think you needed to grab the Cloud City celebration here, and he does
and he
not.
leaves just he doesn't have the celebration.
He doesn't
And
move.
Yogurt Yakskit at the Yakskit doesn't add to that drain anymore. Ancient Watering Hole only
Yeah,
adds at the um at the battlegrounds.
yeah. But the thing is, if
So
you're, I mean, unless Jeff has like a sorry about the mess here, that's not
how
good.
is he gonna sorry about the mess? Like he's
With the
blaster proficiency. You mean sorry combo? That's a character that make a just hit character lost.
oh,
He'd have to have like a power pivot.
that's what I okay, yeah.
But honestly, like if you're Jeff and you're sitting on a Hujix and it's I block this drain of two, he started the battle, I shoot the ship, and then I Hujix it away,
Hmm.
you're perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like 110% happy with that.
As we see, tactical support.
Wirfs is going to send a beating at somebody.
Oh yeah.
There's Phasma.
You got to think it's Jar Jar.
No, Jar Jar would be the last guy I'd go after because he has the potential to remove Phasma or somebody. I'd
Oh
go after
yeah,
Din,
yeah. I was gonna say Din's probably the best one then,
but you got to assume Jeff's going to be able to just path Lando in there and at least threaten something.
or path Din away.
Yeah, I mean, it Wirfs is going to get some troopers and do something.
Well,
And okay,
I mean, you could put three passengers onto the shuttle.
yeah,
So yeah,
and
that's
that
not a
could be it too, as Chris is saying. And Chris, if you've seen Travis's basement, I don't think he'll fit, the 40 to 50 plus players we're going to have, but you can fit a chunk of people in there and it'll be fun.
yeah. You're not
And
wrong.
the
I
whole
mean,
event is going to be a blast. I mean, the game store, we've spent so many years not running stuff at game stores because hotels offer us so much more, and having the meeting room and everything's on site and we have the space 24/7, and we're getting all of that here at a game store.
yeah.
It's connected to the Hyatt. It is awesome. Chris, I'm driving 12 hours.
I'm driving three. Let's see
Me and
who's all going to be there, Mr. Garrett, that we know of.
So who I know of right now, you, me, all the Ohio folks,
Mm-hmm.
B. Fred, probably Matt Scott, probably Harpster.
Yep.
I think it sounded like Keith Brown might be coming. I think Greg Shaw and Taco are planning. Hayes is going
Phil
to be there.
Hayes. I think Joe's going to be there.
I think Joe was given enough notice. He's able to be there. Again, myself, AJ, Nick Sweetall, Sam. I assume we'll see Matt Lutz again. I'm
Matt is
hearing
out. Matt.
rumors that Matt is out.
Yeah, Matt said he's out. Unfortunately.
That's unfortunate, but I've been hearing rumors that we might get a chunk of Minnesotans coming.
Yeah.
Like I heard Charlie Arlinson might be coming. They might be getting Mishke out. And here,
Phasma.
Joker
Yeah,
King
you
said it's
talked about it.
expensive to deploy troopers. It's not. Like
No,
it's +1, so he's paying 3 more. But like, so if he drops all
I
3 of
mean
them there, but
Davin Felth cost 2,
yeah, Devin Felth costs 1+1. Phasma costs 4.
and
There's
a
a
barrier
barrier
on
on
Felth.
Felth. Okay,
It's cute.
but like, all right, you know, I'm. I will say I don't think I'd have put anyone as a passenger on the Emperor shuttle, even if you were going to move him to Bespin, simply because you don't need it. Like you're only
No.
worried about the Bespin drain.
Uh, JS
That's
1975.
that's a choice.
I mean, Chris is essentially, you don't even need to fight. And Jeff has 5 cards in hand. He's got 11 force in his force pile.
I agree. I don't think you start. I don't think you were going to start the fight against Lando.
No.
I'm. I don't love that trooper alone, but I think Chris is saying you can't stop this. And I don't think Chris has any biker scouts left
Not to
to
retrieve.
go.
Yeah.
So
Uh, Probably the one that Mr. Gogolin, who is in the top 4 already, has mentioned.
yeah.
Dresslin.
Well, and now it's more you can react with the patrol for 3.
Well,
Prior to that, it would have cost 4 at Bespin, so he couldn't have
yeah,
done it.
now you
Now
can
you can
retrieve.
react
Yeah,
for
yeah,
3.
you can react with them.
So, and now you're only looking at drains of 3. It's going to
Yeah.
be 1 at Endor and 2 at Din's site, and that's it.
The AO at sites related to systems you occupy. So yes,
Oh yeah, so now it would be
-1.
it'd be 1 less with the AO. You're right.
Good
But
call.
yeah, Chris, you should make that drive. Find
Bring
somebody
Chris
who's
Kelly.
going
He's showing
with
up.
you. Yeah. Chris Kelly was there.
I think
Did Chris come last year?
not
I don't remember. There were
for
so many people.
not for Mega.
Casey was there last year,
Casey was there.
and it, like everybody, this is going to be probably smaller than Worlds, but Worlds will be the only tournament this is smaller than this year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an absolute blast and a half.
I
Like
hear Scott's showing up.
I heard that rumor. Robbie's coming down, or Robbie's planning to come up.
He actually is
'Cause
leaving Texas for once.
yeah, well, we're gonna do some work on trying to improve the streaming option. So I know we're not talking a ton about the game that's going on right now because there hasn't been a lot of really impactful action. Like
True. It's been a lot of I'm draining for a lot versus I'm
yeah,
draining for a little bit.
this is going to be the turn that seals it. Jeff went and
Speaking of
took a card
Harpster,
from hand. Harpster, what tournament? The United States Nationals in Columbus, Ohio in August.
yeah.
At the same Hyatt it was at last year. It's going to be awesome. And
Jeff is training for 5 this turn because of the ancient watering hole.
Jeff is draining for 3 because of the ancient watering hole. It's only drains where you have an alien at a battleground. So it's 1 at Endor, it's 2 at the West Gallery, and it's 1 and it's none
Well,
at the corridor.
I'm sorry. It is the last weekend in August, the 23rd through the 25th. And there's the projected telepathy to say, oh, do you want to drain me at indoor? It's going to
And
cost you two
honestly,
more.
that's as much for Wirfs to cycle a card as anything else.
Hmm.
Like this game will be over after this turn.
It is a little
Yeah,
surprising, but at the same time, it's not. Like, you got to think he's got a few cards you can put back.
and he might just be looking at this and saying, most important is get the win.
Yeah. I
So, and
mean,
Jeff chooses to use 2 force.
I don't hate it.
So Chris loses the projective, which is fine. Like I think I would have liked to see him lose something
Yeah.
from hand there. Like he's got 6 cards in hand. I don't know how many of those he can easily cycle back, and I really felt like that projective was a cycle
Agreed.
back.
Agreed.
But
But
even
again,
if he only wins by 14, like 14
he's
is still a
doing
number.
he's doing seven still next turn, and Jeff has again. Jeff is down to 16, so you want to go from
He's
16
doing
down to 9?
at least 7. So there's the
Yeah,
celebration.
which yeah,
Again, I think you cancel it. If you've got a way to
Milos.
cancel it, and there's Milos, okay.
Again, but I mean, you.
Like,
I think if you're Jeff, you know not to battle into either of those sites because you know Chris is going to react with somebody
or he's going to trooper assault.
or both.
So,
It
and
can't
I
do
think
both.
you're probably okay with that. I think at this point, what you have to do is just swap the wild card and Bo-Katan's ship and force Chris to keep moving.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only way you're battling, and he left a card in reserve like he was thinking about battling. I think the only way you're battling is if you have the critical error revealed, and that's a 5 in reserve.
Well, you want it to be more than a 5. Well,
Nope,
actually,
a
no, you
5
don't.
is
You don't.
enough because
Yeah.
Ellers makes it a 6. Or the wild card
Mascanata.
makes it a 6 with Ellers.
Yeah. So there's like,
Boz is fine.
I just don't think he's pushing the needle.
Like Maz stops Chris from starting a battle there.
Yeah.
Because at this point,
Maybe.
Jeff might be low enough. He might not have the paths. I just don't know. Like, so he's going to have to pay 4 to retrieve from Celebration. He might not have 4 cards down next turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a, and now we're into battle phase,
Move phase.
straight into move. So I don't know why Jeff left that one in reserve. If he
You
was
got
trying
to.
to threaten something, and he doesn't bother moving Bo-Katan over.
Well, he's still in
Um,
his move phase.
he's in his move phase, but he can't move anyone back to Endor.
He can. It's just going to cost him all of his force this turn.
No, it'll cost him an extra 1
Oh,
because
that's
moving to Endor
right.
costs
Yeah.
+1. So now he
Yeah.
can't move
You're right.
someone
You're
to
right. You're
Endor,
right.
and that's
When you're right, you're right.
an oops. Like Jeff is, I think, a little flustered,
Yeah.
and Chris is playing this spectacularly. Hopefully, they'll take a couple minutes in between games, and Jeff can center himself and take a shot at this because I think I'd like to see him move Yogurt over with Jar Jar.
I
He
don't.
does nothing at that 1-0. He
Yeah.
does
You're not.
absolutely nothing. So you might as well move him over with Jar Jar, and then you at least have a body there. And apparently he disagrees. And okay,
Yeah. And there's the Harpster cheerleader squad.
yeah, you would think Jeff would have a bunch of practice, and this might be one of those where he has the practice, but there's only so much you can practice getting punched in the face. Like, this is the Mike Tyson deck of everybody has an answer until you get punched in the face. This is what's going on here. Is this deck
Yeah.
just, it hit him so fast that I
So
don't know that he can do anything about it.
we're talking about old Mike Tyson, not the Mike Tyson we saw most recently, right?
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't want 50-something-year-old Mike Tyson punching me in the face either. That I got glasses, so he won't hit me. But
He might. He might.
like,
Yeah, and
but
Jeff
that
is
was the
losing.
old, I mean, that was the Mike Tyson quote from years ago is, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Jeff just got punched real hard in the mouth real quick, and
So
his plan
interesting.
went away.
And interesting enough, right now he does have the force for the Cloud City celebration.
Yep. And I think at this point you have to just say, okay, I'm going to save the force for it.
But if
I'm
you're
going to drain as much as I can and just try and move the differential down.
but
And
if
that's
you're
all you can do.
Wirfs, I think you just put people down and try and end this right now.
Here's the thing though, is you're not ending it right now with that battle. Even if you trooper
Eh,
assault, like,
eh,
because Lando should be adding one.
Lando does no, he doesn't.
He adds one with an alien on Cloud City, doesn't he? If with
Uh,
your other
what
alien
is
on Cloud
what
City.
is
Oh,
Chris
because of the
playing?
objective.
There you go.
I got there. It's
Yeah, so he's down by 12. Chris is getting 2. Jeff
yeah,
is
this is
not.
gonna be
And we
like,
saw the Hujiks go lost.
and the Phasma's gonna retrieve one. This might actually just be it
Yeah.
for Jeff. Like, this really is gonna be a question of, can Jeff survive enough to punch some drains through? Shooting at Felt is fine. He's the easiest hit.
Yep. I don't think I like the scum. This is 5 for Destiny. He does hit Felth.
Yeah, so that's fine. Like, that was the Miles will subtract 1 from the Battle Destiny. He'll add
Yeah.
1 to the total with Watering Hole. It's he's still in trouble. Like, there really is going to be a question of just, does he have just enough to survive to get through drains of 2, 4, I guess 4.
Yeah.
He can get the cards out of Wirf's hands. And that's probably about it.
Well, yeah, because right now he's
Yeah,
got 1,
and the
2,
forfeit +1 helps.
3,
So that's going to
4,
be
5.
11 in
He
forfeit.
does have the aliens, so he will get the drain. If he can drain, he will get the ancient watering hole bonus.
Yeah, at the 2 sites. So it'll be drain
Yeah.
of 4 if he can get it through.
Yeah.
He won't be able to retrieve with Celebration. There's no way he's going to be able to keep 3 cards down there. And honestly, 3 cards won't even move the needle because you're getting drained out.
Oh.
I think that's a spicy play. I like that.
I like
lot.
that because now you can maybe get rid of Phasma if you know what the
get rid of
destiny is.
Phasma, this suddenly gets at least a little interesting. That was a real smart play by Jeff.
And that was a great play by Jeff. I love that.
That was a very, very smart play by Jeff. Now let's see if he can hit it. So he's a 3, so he's got a total of 5. He needs
Destiny plus ability.
Oh, no, so he's canceling redraw with Yogurt.
Okay, so 4 is
So
a
he's
little
a
bit
4,
better.
so he needs him to draw 2.
Destiny.
That doesn't get him there.
No.
That was Phasma's ability is 2, so actually
Yeah.
they tied.
Yeah, they
So
tied.
3 would have gotten him there. I was thinking
Yeah.
Phasma was ability 3. But Jar Jar moving there does give him the plus to some extra forfeit. However, 1, 2, 3, 4.
He
5.
still
Yeah,
has the
so
aliens.
he'll have 5 aliens even if that
Yeah.
site gets wiped. Wow. There were 3
Christy.
Destiny in reserve, and 2 of them would have failed the Jar Jar bomb.
Yeah, that's super unlucky.
That's
and
a little unfortunate. So it's
Jeff throws a 1, becomes a 2, so he's down by 11. I think that it actually is enough to cover the forfeit.
Maz and Lando actually will just cover
Yeah.
that flat out.
Yeah.
because with the forfeit +1, Lando's a 6 and Maz is a 5.
Yeah. So
So
Jeff lives to
you're,
fight another day.
and
Doesn't
there's
matter. Yeah.
last points to cancel. I mean, the celebration was not getting there anyways.
Yeah.
It's like I said, he might not be running Masterful Move because he does get the, if he gets into a battle, he's probably winning it.
Yeah. And I think what we might see is Jeff drains for the 4, which
And then picks up.
and picks up because it's going to get that's which it's going to get 1 card out of Chris's deck at this
It'll
point.
get Chris to 15, but it
Yeah.
also will lower,
Well,
less cards in
does
Lost.
I was going to say, does Chris have any biker scouts in his lost pile here?
I don't think he does. Oh, I don't like that play by Chris.
Neither do I.
He just gave up a drain of 2 for.
Well, now he blocks Adrena too,
Okay.
as he docking bay
But
transit
he could have
for free.
blocked the other drain as well, and he should move
Yeah.
that other trooper in front of Din
Yeah,
as
agreed.
well.
And he does.
And he does. Yeah, I don't like moving the Falcon away or the shuttle
Honestly,
away. Although
now
now it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. You go from a drain of 4 down to a drain of 2, and you've got 2
Yeah.
cards. You got 3 cards in your hand. Yeah.
Like if you don't move the shuttle away, you at least take run the risk of Jeff saying, "Well, I'll activate 2, I'll shoot down the shuttle, and
And then
try."
you have to pay to drain. That just feels bad.
Chris picks a card up. What?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't like that at all. So
Force of habit.
yeah, that's you're in match play. You're in a dominant position.
He draws
you are
2
ending
cards.
the game. Why are you reducing your
I don't know.
immunity? Why are
Jeff.
you reducing your?
Yeah. Now
I
Jeff puts a
don't
card down for
understand.
Milos.
Whatever.
I mean, cute.
That's a whatever. I think if I'm Jeff, I activate everything, I drain for 2, and I draw.
Yeah,
And I
I'm not
maybe
disagreeing
hope
with
that
you.
Chris will, lose from reserve deck for whatever reason. Yeah, I mean Jeff played this
He played it as good as he could.
as well as he could have.
Yeah.
We've never seen Menace Fades, and again, that really would have only hit for 2 force. I didn't love the Leia battle, but I understood it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he didn't realize that he wasn't going to be able to Leia to cancel those 2 drains and thought he would have slowed it down a little bit more. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he ran into a deck that when it hits, it can be an absolute buzzsaw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it was. And there's nothing, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just a deck that is going to be trouble for him every single time. So,
Yeah.
There's, he needed that celebration a lot earlier, because especially if Chris was counting on blast points as being his celebration canceller, you would have potentially forced Chris into coming down and starting a battle sooner.
Yeah.
Where maybe you could have done something with it. Like if that Jar Jar bomb had gone off on Phasma, I think Jeff might have actually won that battle.
Agreed. And then he still has the Cloud City celebration to retrieve some. I mean,
and it looks like he just took a card with keeping. I wonder if he's trying to find a path and just moved in either Din or Jar Jar and get another drain of 2 in.
Yeah. I think that's the right move. But again, Wirfs has 3 cards in his hand.
Chris will lose them from hand, but again,
Yeah.
he got it down to 14 in a matchup that wasn't going to be great. Like it was winnable for Jeff if things fell his way and he got a little lucky.
Yeah. And
but without that, it was not winnable.
And there's the draw from Jeff.
Chris playing point man.
Oh, that's dirty. That's dirty. Got
Well, I
the
mean, he's got to take one from force pile, so he's at
yeah.
15 instead of 14. Like it's fine. So, and I think they're planning to play game 2 right away.
Yes. So let's go ahead and we'll
So
wait for that.
we'll see and make sure they make sure that's what they say. I'm going to step away for like 30 seconds and grab a beverage real quick. So I'll let you talk about how much fun Ohio is going to be.
It's going
Well,
to be a
we
blast. I'm not playing, so I don't know how much fun it's going to be for me. But for everybody who is thinking about going to Ohio, it is going to be one of the biggest majors we're going to see in a while. So I do strongly suggest if you are able to go, and I think you should go. It's going to be fun. Okay, so it looks like they are going to take five, and then they're going to come back to play game two. So we'll step away for 5 minutes, and then when they come back, we'll go ahead and get into game number two. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We have our game two. Wirfs has gone ahead and posted the game, so uh, just waiting on Jeff to come on and accept the game.
You
But
should, and Jeff posted his own game. There we go. You should put the results in the.
I'm just about to, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Boss Man.
All right. I mean, some of us do that ahead of time, but whatever. And EOPS going the other way against Luke Saga.
And will we have? Yep, we're gonna have classic EOPS
Oh,
versus Luke Saga.
classic EOPS. So this is going to be there's two different ways to play EOPS. You're seeing them both today, folks.
Yeah, both are not fun. Both are not fun.
Honestly, I think the classic is very fun. I think the classic is interactive as heck. It's a good deck. It's not unreasonable.
And
I,
there's
I don't
the
love that spread and play troopers. That's just a.
as somebody who was just talking about playing a winning waltz deck. So
Oh,
it, really,
I don't like it. I
you don't
played
have to
it.
like it.
Yeah, I understand why people play it. I would not be opposed to playing it because it is very good, but I look at it as it's not fun to watch. It's not particularly fun to play against. It's
So it's the
spread with troopers.
so it's not
It's fine.
it's the Garrett Larson of Star Wars CCG.
Yeah, sounds like we may have a sound issue.
Uh,
Did
I
you mute us?
no, we're not muted.
Okay. Um,
Can someone go ahead and somebody else tell us? Like we were muted.
okay, well,
Now we're not.
oh, sound is
Okay.
fine. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe
Thank you.
Pierre hit mute and did you mute your
Yeah.
computer, Pierre?
Yeah.
Or maybe Plaid Bread is like, it's better when I can't hear you.
Four Luke sagas in the top four. Well, we don't know. Chris has to win to make the top four with
Yeah,
Luke Saga.
Chris has to win by 16.
Yeah.
This
As we
are by
see,
15.
there's the Endor Shield. Jeff went ahead and got Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ozzel. Chris is going ahead and starting with Like My Father Before Me, Best Star Pilot in the Galaxy, and a Kenny Warrior. We have two people who said the sound is fine.
All right, well, we're gonna stick with that. The sound is fine then. So I don't love Best Star Pilot in this deck from Chris.
Oh, I like it. It's a pretty looking card.
It's a gorgeous card, but I prefer a Walkling start. I
Hey,
like
Gogolin,
the Force Choke.
just because you don't like hearing us, Chris, doesn't mean everybody else doesn't.
I already made that joke, Chris. If you were
Yeah.
listening, you'd have known that.
Chris doesn't listen.
Chris does it. Chris is in the top four. He doesn't need to listen to us. So Jeff
Yeah, he
just
does.
deploys the Forest Clearing and draws a couple.
Chris is willingly listening to us, which is worse than what we're doing.
Yeah, like Chris heard his game, and then I'm so sorry, Chris. How mad were you at the end of that, though, Chris, with listening to all the times I was like, I don't like that play from Chris. Me and Carl were,
Well,
you know,
it-
we're definitely questioning some things.
I do figure that we have a drink. I've made if I'm not doing streaming, I have a drinking game where I take a shot every time Garrett says I don't like that play. I
How
think
do
I
you
was
still have a liver?
I know, right?
So, Garrett definitely, there were some plays in those games where Garrett was like, I don't know that I like that play. And,
It's not
it all worked out, and Chris played
I'm
spectacularly.
I'm beginning to realize if you want to learn how to play Star Wars CCG, just get Garrett to do commentary for your games and do the opposite of what he says. I don't like that play.
There's some validity to that statement. So,
I mean,
and Chris just draws up a bunch. He puts out the Best Star Pilot.
Yeah.
Puts out Polis Massa and draws.
Well, he also got the Endor Chief Troopers hot out. He drew that. He played.
He
My
must
sister
not have
has it.
had the 1-0 corridor and didn't want to put down the 2-2.
Uh, don't worry. That's you know what? Thank you, Chris. That's gonna. I have something.
Garrett definitely did not like when you landed Maul.
See,
That was
we need to have. I know when Garrett streams, he doesn't like to show himself on camera. I don't understand why, but I think we need to have force Garrett into doing it because just reactions of seeing what he does when he talks makes things a lot better. So Jeff does go out and gets his ominous rumors. He asks for a revert just to see what was in his deck. I mean, that's an okay revert.
yeah, and honestly, these are two players that they're both very gentlemanly. That's not the kind of thing either of them would say no.
Yeah,
So
they're not me.
that's a perfectly reasonable, perfectly reasonable play. They both are.
There's the slave one,
And
Boba Fett
Boba
coming
Fett.
down. So I mean, this is like the standard thing coming up right now.
So he didn't play the ominous yet, though, which is a little
Well,
like.
he doesn't need to. I mean, he can throw down the ship here and then play the ominous. But yeah, I
But
think
the ominous would have given it. It would have given him more cards to grab with the ominous.
yeah, true.
So, but he doesn't throw the ominous down at all. He says, "Okay, I'll
Yeah.
just run Slave One up to Endor."
Well, and the ominous, you don't have to have control of the bunker. It's
Yeah,
the
you can just
established
throw it
secret
down.
base that you do. So yeah, he can throw that down at any point he wants to.
Yeah.
I did hear, Chris, that you defeated Garrett really easily earlier with your
Oh yeah,
speeder
this
deck
morning
versus
that was.
Walker deck. So I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah, that
Go
that was a. There wasn't much to that. That was a. You got the harpoon right away, and I didn't have an answer for the harpoon, and my please God make it miss didn't work. So
as we see, there's the lower
was what it
corridor,
was. Yep. So Chris putting down that lower quarter, I'm
and young
a
Skywalker
little
going down.
surprised to see young Skywalker go there. I think you want to threaten on Endor. Like I think Jeff is, although Jeff's got to win this by a bunch.
True. I
So
mean, he's got to win it by
Chris
15.
is making the. I'm just gonna force you to try and come at me there
Yeah.
play, which is okay. I think if you're trying to win the game, if you're Chris, I think I'd rather send him to the Dark Forest and
Yeah.
put in some, try and threaten it that way. But I think you're fine doing it where you're at.
So you're saying that you like the play by Chris?
It's fine. It's. I understand the play. I don't know that it's the play I would have made, but it's not a. Either one is fine. Either one is a reasonable option. You doing putting Luke there says I want to get into a drain race
Mm-hmm.
instead of I'm going to force you to come at me where I can be retrieving with my epic event, etc.
And
That's
there's,
my
yeah.
question. And yeah, the Destiny -1 might come in handy, but I'd rather it be Rey there than Luke. Like I'd rather be battling with Luke because most of the high destinies, the Destiny -1 isn't going to hit the sevens. It's not going to
Yeah.
hit the Phantom Menaces, which is what you'd need to kill Luke.
Yeah. And
So
there's the Dark Force that we were talking about after Jeff puts out the ominous rumors. He does take the Emperor shuttle into hand, and he goes and gets out Count Dooku to the forest clearing. Grand Admiral Thrawn
and
to the Dark Forest. So this tells us that he's going to go out and pull his resistance shield.
yep. And I like all of those plays.
I mean, especially with Luke, again, like you said, all the way over on Cloud City, only draining for 3. Yeah, I think that's the right
Although
play
you
by Jeff.
do have to consider Luke might neighbor over.
True.
Like that would be the one thing you have to at least be cognizant of. This might be an issue. Is
Hmm.
Luke could try and neighbor on the
And
do or do not.
yeah, this is telling us that you might be
That
neighboring.
might be a try. That might be an option.
I think you drain first, neighboring over.
Yeah, that's if you don't have a sorry where you could neighbor and over, sorry them, and then drain. I think it's
Well,
fine to get your drain of 2 in
yeah,
here.
yeah, okay, yeah, because then you would go from a drain of yeah, you go from a drain of 2 to a
Um,
drain of 3. So, and yeah, Thrawn.
I I mean Dooku has so we see Tarkin's Bounty and Forlom V go off the top to the drain. So the downside of attacking Thrawn is you run the risk of a command to draw 2 and kill Luke. Now, Chris is certainly running multiple Lukes,
Yeah,
but
you lose the saber again. You don't
you
have
don't
the
want to lose the
walkling.
saber.
Yeah,
You
you don't
don't
want to lose the
really want to
walkling.
lose him.
Um,
Oh, that was an autocorrect. I just assumed
I thought you were
thought
being
Thrawn had
yeah.
very beautiful full lips and it was some sort of Freudian type. I
I
was
thought
willing
it
to
was
let you
you
have that
being.
one,
I
Hobby.
thought you were being cognizant of the fact this is a family show.
Yeah, like I wasn't gonna read it either way, but I thought you were just being, Thrawn smooch.
So we see there's the best star
uh,
planet in the galaxy. Attempt to pull out the Azure Angel, Falcon, or Red 5.
I feel like it's gonna be the Falcon.
I do think 6 Force for the Millennium Falcon plus Han Solo. Now, I like this from Chris because I mean that's Arena 2 up there.
Yeah. No, Hobby, I knew you meant Thrawn. I just thought,
Smoochy,
I'm
smoochy.
assuming that wasn't what you autocorrected. So, but
Yeah.
maybe it was, and you just, you meant that you thought Dooku needed a kiss, and his beard looks scratchy. So
I mean, you would know.
I wouldn't
And
actually. I've never kissed Dooku, and I've never kissed myself to know if my beard is scratchy.
as we
So
see that Chris only deploys the Falcon, Chewie, and Han to pull us masses, whereas now Jeff is threatening 6 damage this turn.
yeah, but I think Chris is okay with a. Chris is fine with taking some damage because he hasn't taken any yet, and he can start retrieving when he
Yeah.
battles.
Yep.
And Chris is fine with turning this into a drain race.
As we see
Like you drain
squats.
for 6, I drain for 4.
Yeah.
Chris loses that game, but he loses it by less than 15.
As we see Leia, Alderaan, Skywalkers, All Wings, Cloud City, guest quarters. The Force is strong with this one, and I know I'll go off the top. A lot of decent Destiny. There's no escape
Yeah,
from Jeff, so he's going to get the Forlom with concussion rifle back. Probably see him go down to the bunker.
I would say that's a reasonable spot. The other spot he could go would be a passenger in Slave 1, simply so he is immune to Restraining Bolt.
Yeah, but with
And
all the
Jeff
stuff that,
says, I don't think Wirfs is playing Restraining
yeah, I
Bolts.
was going to say, with all the stuff that Wirfs just lost, you think it's got to be he doesn't have the space for restraining bolt.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing
Whew. I mean, they're both playing well, and I think you're right. Chris is playing with the knowledge that he is up by 15 force going into this game, whereas Jeff is thinking, okay, I can get as much damage as I want. I'm out damaging Chris, and I'm going to make it so he has to come to me. As we see Mara Jade with lightsaber go down to the Dark Forest.
and
We
I'm
could,
assuming that means,
she's going to move.
or is Thrawn going to move?
Either one. I think it's going to be Mara.
I think it should be Mara simply because if Thrawn moves to a non-battleground, he no longer can threaten the command. So instead, Jeff just draws.
And the
Okay.
on top of that, Mara moves for free.
Yeah, but I mean, it might also be that Jeff realizes if he leaves anybody alone, because he can force push out with Dooku, if he leaves anybody alone, they're going to get battled Wirfs is going to retrieve one. They're
Well,
going to
you
just
only
trade
retrieve
characters,
with the Skywalker, so it's either
Leia or Anakin or Ben
or Luke.
or Luke with a neighbor. And yeah, like there's still a lot of options there.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you because we see another Forlom go from lost from hand, so he's playing two Forloms. Another
Yep.
Emperor drains for two Epolos Masas. And we
There's the comp scan to
comp scan
cancel it.
detection. Okay.
That's good. And Chris chooses not to grab that. I think he's probably waiting on a. He's probably going to grab Force Lightning. Like if
Force
you're going to go
Lightning's
after
one.
Dooku.
Yeah.
All right. There's Yoda.
And like you said, Jeff saved 4 Force, so this tells me he's got some sort of evasion. He might play the Force push just to Force push out of the battle.
I would expect so. Like the. And there's
Barrier
the
to Leia.
barrier to Leia.
I like that because that stops the retrieval unless Chris has another Skywalker.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I think Chris is probably kind of okay with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
As he gives Leia Anakin's saber.
Not like the movies at all.
You don't remember the part where Leia and Yoda were hanging out on Endor?
Nope. I do see that Chris went to go search for a card with Leia. He missed the pool, being
the
that
Leia
Leia
of Alderaan that he
is in
already
the
lost.
pile. Yeah.
So
Padme coming down.
Okay. Padme, who's not a Skywalker, because apparently you don't maintain that name that she would have gained in marriage.
Well, did she though? Do you know Skywalker rules or Star Wars rules? Because Leia was always Leia Organa.
Leia Organa Solo.
That was in the non-canon books anymore.
Whatever.
Attempting to fry Leia. Okay, I don't hate that.
I actually like that quite a bit, especially
Yes,
with
in
her
the
having
draw
the
phase,
saber.
yeah. And he hits with a
And
6.
she is sizzled. So that's 2 Leias in lost pile now.
Yeah.
And
No.
that also means Padme isn't adding a drain, or no, it's 1. It's Leia of Alderaan.
It's 1
right.
Leia, but more
and
importantly,
a Leia of Alderaan.
Well, actually, Chris is okay with that because he can get the lightsaber back with Ben Solo.
Yep. But it does mean that Jeff can look at battling with Dooku.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about the extra destiny to attrition.
Exactly. And you got to think
not just not having to worry about the saber, it's also the destiny to attrition.
Yeah.
And Chris didn't grab Force Lightning either. I'm not sure what he's waiting on to grab. He didn't grab barrier.
It went lost. Like,
yeah, but that's still, first strike is a thing. Retrieval's a thing.
True. I mean, and that's what
playing probably 3 Force Lightnings.
You think?
Yes.
3 Force Lightnings with 4 Forlom or with 2 Forloms?
Yeah, because you need Forlom to make sure you get those 6s and 7s so you can Force Lightning.
Okay, so we see Jeff drain for 2 at the Dark Forest. There goes a Jedi's Focus and a Luke Skywalker Rebel Scout off the top. Drains for 2 at Endor.
And my sister has it.
And Hear Me Baby Hold Together. Yeah, Grievous grabbing that
loves
saber.
Those cards in his hand.
Grievous will not be able to grab the saber because the epic event says that you cannot steal sabers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So there's something special.
Which is really just another grabber.
Yeah.
Like, I doubt he's going to need to retrieve a ship, although he may at some point, lose the Emperor's shuttle and want to retrieve it. I just don't foresee that. There's Force Lightning lost to make Padme lost. Whew, that's a miss.
That's a big miss because again, it's a 1 that becomes a
-1 to make it a
0. Yeah.
0. See, now if he had
Uh,
had overload, that would have been cool. If he'd have tracked that kick around and overloaded Leia instead of the Force Lightning, that would have been awesome.
you're not wrong.
So that playing the Force Lightning like that though tells me he's not going to battle with Dooku because you
Yeah.
do have to give up the immunity,
Yeah.
and there's no reason to lose Dooku right now. Like you can still just force push out Padme and walk out of that battle and cancel the drain.
Yeah, and I agree. Well, now there might be a reason to battle because Kylo Ren comes down.
Yeah, now you might be fine.
Blizzard 4 coming out as well.
Okay. So Jeff says, Chris, that's not enough power you have there. He doesn't even bother with the Blizzard 4 pull, so he must know there's not one in there.
Well, he did check his destiny, so
Yep.
he swings with Kylo Ren at Yoda, draws a
So
4
three,
or a
three, because
3
it's -1,
and a 6.
and
So
gets him.
Yoda's hit, forfeit equals 0, and he has to lose a force.
That's
We might see a sorry about our sniper combo here.
oh, that'd be real big. Does Chris have the Fujix?
I don't know, but Chris is using a young Skywalker to retrieve a card. He's going to retrieve a Jedi's Focus. That is going to allow him to take a card into hand.
And he might have to. Like,
Yeah, he might have to search for that Hujix.
if he doesn't have the Hujix, although there was no sniper played, so
Yeah. As we see the Phantom Menace for Destiny. So 29 to 9 currently,
Padme is not immune to that.
and 4. No. And you
So
just lose the
Padme
Blizzard 4
and
here.
9. Ooh, that's
And he loses Dooku. I don't know if I like that.
he's already played 2 Force Lightnings.
But Dooku has immunity.
Yeah, but you wiped the site out.
And Chris does not have the Hujix.
Ooh, so Chris is peeling the 9 and I think deciding which character he wants to try and retrieve if he starts a battle with Leia or Ben next turn.
Yeah, so Blaster Deflection, Luke's Lightsaber, another Luke Rebel Scout. He still has to lose Padme
6
and
more.
6. Yeah.
He's got to lose both characters and 6 still. Like, that was rough. That was a beatdown. And, Jeff hitting the blind. He has the Azure Angel, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff hitting the somewhat blind Force Lightning on Leia really changed the texture of this game and gave him the open to say,
100%.
well, let me go for this. Let me go for this beatdown.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's still losing another 5 cards. Plus Leia and Yoda. Like, he can then drain for 4, but the one thing is, so Jeff's got 33 cards right now. After Chris loses that 5, he'll be at 18, 20, 21, 23. Like, he's still the match is not over yet.
The match, no. And honestly, I'm thinking if you're Chris, I would like to see him to put somebody down with Luke and then move them over to the security tower, as it is a drain of 2 there.
Yeah.
And
honestly, I wouldn't hate seeing the Falcon move to Endor. Like, you don't like giving up the drain, but at some point you need to slow. You need to slow Jeff's damage down.
And we just saw that Chris lost the Azure Angel punch it. I know Luke's hand. My sister has it.
The punch it is rough.
The punch it is the big one.
If he would have still had the punch it, I think I'd have liked that move a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Like, because now he can't even threaten it. Like, it's one thing to threaten a punch it. It's another to have already lost it. And Jeff knows Chris isn't playing 2 of those. Like punch, it's a one-off card.
Chris is saying one less.
Oh, activation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
So
So
that
we're
that's so he's leaving 3, which means I think it's Ben Solo.
uh yeah,
I mean, that's the play. Is
yeah.
it's Ben Solo to clear one of the locations. And honestly, I think it's got to be Tarkin and Mara, and just hope he
Tarkin.
doesn't have a command.
You mean the Thrawn?
Or Thrawn and Mara, yeah.
I mean, I don't hate that. The bigger problem is like Jeff is gonna have some high destiny. Solo's Ben's gonna be hit. He has no form or no immunity built in, so he's gonna go lost. But yeah, I think at this point you almost need to cut in as much as you
Yeah.
can.
It's a you do that to reduce the damage, and then yeah, I don't know. Like I hate the idea of moving the Falcon over, but at the same time, I hate the idea of just letting that drain a 2 sit. And yeah, Tom's 100% right. It wouldn't shock me at all if there's another barrier. And I think Chris made a mistake in not grabbing that barrier
Agreed.
when Leia got barriered. That's it feels bad to hit near the end of a game and be like, okay, there were things I could have grabbed and chose not to.
Yeah.
And if it hits you more than once, it's a real bad feeling. And if he walks into another barrier, that's a real bad feeling because it's not like he's saving 2 to force push. There's no one he can push with. He
Correct.
doesn't have any Dark Jedi there.
The only reason, well, I mean, he could have it. You are beaten. That is another card I think that we might see,
Yeah,
and that's almost as, I mean, that's a little bit better than the barrier because I mean, you at least retain the sight, so you block the drain. But
honestly, I don't know. I guess yeah. You keep the sight, you hit, you are beaten, and you walk away.
now the opposite of that is if you're Jeff, as we
Another
see
comm
another,
scan to cancel that drain,
yeah,
and there Chris grabs it,
wow, which means
and
that,
that's
yeah, that just, oof.
that was rough. That's a little.
I mean, that's the power forlum. Like you're tracking it around clearly, and that's where Jeff just shows
Did
he's
he
like he's a really
perfectly
good player.
track to that, or did he just?
You
He
got to
might
think
be
he
run.
does.
He could very likely be running 2.
That's also, yeah, that's something that could come into play is that he could be running two there. Uh,
Like I know Joe has played a version of this that was running 2 at one point. There's
okay, and yeah,
Anakin.
Anakin coming down.
So Anakin by himself does nothing though.
Yeah, no, having
Like
no
in
saber, it's got to,
you've
you,
got 3 in reserve deck for a reason. You've got to
yeah,
have.
okay.
Okay, I sort of hate the peeling 2 to go get the saber though.
I do too, but you kind of have to.
Yeah, like it's
I mean, the nice thing
none of
is
this feels good.
now the nice thing is if you're worse, if you have, sorry about the mess, or a Clash of Sabers here, you Clash Sabers Mara and you go
Yeah,
against
if
Thrawn.
he's got the Sari or the Clash, Thrawn could be in for a world of hurt. Um,
But you would assume that if he had the Clash, you do it before you battle. So him battling there tells me he's either got
See,
the
I think
Sari.
you're fine doing it even if Mara hits. You, I think your goal is I'm going to try and overflow Thrawn for as much as I can. You don't really want to leave either one of them just sitting there alone
No, not with Jeff
with
having an eight
Jeff
card
having
hand.
8
Yeah.
cards in hand. Like,
Okay, so he does have
all
the
right, so
Clash.
he
And yeah.
first turn clashes Mara. All right, I guess. And he chose not to.
Yep, there's the command.
He chose not to retrieve when he started the battle, which, okay. Yeah, like you're gonna probably overflow Thrawn by something,
I don't know. You got to
but
think
is it gonna be enough?
because right now you're up by 6. Your best destiny that you just had
You-
goes to the weapon. So
You're
you got to think,
effectively up 7 because Anakin adds 1 to the destiny.
yeah, but you got to think that Jeff's going to draw probably like a 5 and a 6
Jeff's
minimum.
drawing 2 good destiny. You need to draw, so he draws his own a 6.
So it's 11 or 17,
Yeah, so I mean,
down by 12. But
Jeff has
again,
to draw 2 6s. That's
okay,
not a 6.
no, but it doesn't get reduced,
Yeah.
and a 3, so
I
6.
mean, so Thrawn in 5 is not bad.
No, no, not bad at all. I mean, unless he's got
And
the
you
gick.
lose 6, I think you lose Obi and Hope. Like you're not draining with Mara, but at the same time, like, is Jeff gonna come after Anakin here, or is he gonna say, "Look, I just need to keep steady drains, and 4
Uh,
is fine."
it really depends. If Jeff has the first strike here, you 100% go after Anakin.
Oh, if he's got first strike, it's yeah, 110%. You go after
Yeah,
Anakin.
because there's no way Chris is not going to draw that one card in his force pile just to have a card in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, it almost doesn't matter that Chris has
And
no cards in hand. If he leaves that one in his force pile, you still come at him if you've got the first strike.
yeah,
He may not be running first strike, and I
and
still think
Jeff
if you've
didn't
got
have the
anything,
gick.
you go. That's good for Chris. And Jeff's losing from hand as he
Yeah, he
loses
loses sense.
Maul and
Lord Maul.
Sense.
There goes Thrawn. Aplak, any methods necessary, and
He's got to lose 2 more.
yeah,
Like he's down to 21 cards down.
Phantom
He's
Menace and a Palpatine. So yeah, he's got 19 down, but he's also got 5 in hand. And now it's Jeff's turn.
yeah, but he's only draining for 4. Like that gives Chris a shot if he can get a couple more turns of drains in.
Yep, Dark Time. So that's
I think Jeff's just
I
cycling that so he knows where that 5
yeah,
is.
he's going to guarantee himself a
So
5 there. I don't hate that.
he's going after Anakin hard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's got.
The worst thing for Chris here is actually a sniper
Yeah, a sniper would be real bad.
because you get the drain, you deal the 6.
The sniper would be another drain of 2.
And you can't even do anything against Mara next on your next turn.
Yeah. Like sniper would be a rough card, but I don't know that this deck runs that Jeff's necessarily running sniper.
He's got to have some sort of battle trick. Like I
I'd
feel like
bet
there's
you are beaten is probably more likely than sniper.
possibly, yeah.
So I know that's one of those where sniper's a low enough destiny that it's tough sometimes in a deck where you really want to be like force lightning and doing all that stuff. Like you don't necessarily need that sniper.
Yeah, I'll agree with you
You've
there.
got force lightnings plus chokes. You might just be trying to count on those.
As he activates everything, well, he activates what he can for 14. There goes Orlando and a run loop run. And another, my sister has it, another Jedi's focus.
Yeah, I mean the destiny
Chris's
that are
destiny is
in there
really
are very
good.
high.
Yeah.
But Jeff again has to. He's got to figure out how to end it because that 6 from that battle was real rough on him. That 6
Yeah.
from that battle gives Chris a chance to
I
win this
mean,
game.
Chris is still only doing 4. That's going to put Jeff, if even if he gets just the 4,
So that 4 puts Jeff at 20.
yeah, and Jeff has to win by 15.
Yeah,
So I think if you're
potentially 16. Like It's really going to be close.
And I agree,
If
100%.
you just see just trade drains, this is going to be real close. I actually think if I'm Jeff, I might not battle I might not battle Anakin. I could see just moving to the non-battleground.
With
Like I
who?
could absolutely see sort of spreading here. Like
With who?
move Kylo to the funeral pyre.
Okay, because you can't move Mara right now.
You can't move Mara, but Mara's also blocking the drains, so you're fine
Yeah,
with Mara.
yeah. And
Like I
be
could
that,
absolutely see drop random numpty with Mara, move them to Chirpa's hut, move Kylo to the funeral pyre, and say you have one card in hand, you are getting drained for at least 6 next turn.
yeah, and I agree with you.
And that's going to be tough for Chris to come back from. Like he can theoretically drop one guy, maybe he's got a Leia in hand that he, is that the card he drew into where he can say, okay,
That's what it comes down to. It. Yeah.
here's Leia or Ben to drop, start a battle, retrieve one, and clear a site. Because that's all he can do. And if he's tracked, which I think Jeff has, this could be a little rough.
Yeah. It's. I mean,
Like if he's got the choke tracked, and keep in mind he'll have to actually draw a 7 with the choke because my sister has it. We'll subtract 1 from that choke destiny.
it does not look like he does because there's the fanfare.
If that's the card, okay. I'm gonna say if that one card is my sister has it, he could theoretically keep him alive. The fanfare, yeah. So he's going to give it a shuffle. My guess is he's got at least one destiny that'll choke. Or does he?
That's the question. Like,
because that's the command.
Yeah. He's gonna have to have it. It would essentially.
I don't think he has. I'm not sure he has the destiny to even kill Anakin.
Well, he might. Anakin only is immune to 4.
Yeah, but immune to 4 means he has to draw a 5.
Nope, he didn't have it.
He didn't have it. He's moved, but he does
he's
exactly
listening
what I
to
said.
He's listening to Garrett.
Look
oh
at
my
this.
gosh! Today, June 24th.
This is what
someone
it looks
has
like when I
listened to
like
Garrett.
to play. No, you didn't hear a word from me about it. I don't like that, Jeff. I like that, Jeff. That's the right play.
And he'll keep the upkeep.
I don't want to throw anything at my computer. I'm not cussing at all. I like this play a whole lot by Jeff. I think this is a absolute pour on the pressure.
And I agree. I think you have to.
So in theory, and Wirfs. So the card in his hand was a Jedi's Focus. I'm like, in theory,
and I think Jeff grabs
sorry. Jeff did not grab it, and I don't think he needs
to. I don't think you need to. It's a lost card. I forgot. I thought it was
a lost interrupt. Let it go lost. Chris has already retrieved it.
Yeah.
Like it goes lost, and Chris retrieves a different card. Like, okay, it doesn't matter what he does.
I would not hate to see it, Tom. I would actually love to see it.
I wouldn't hate it. I think if you have been, I think you send him at Blizzard 4 instead.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but thematic wise.
Oh, I agree. The theme of send him there, Ben versus Kylo, make it happen, or Ben versus Vader, where, Jeff did have the first strike. It was
in
his force pile. So
yeah.
He lost a Dooku from hand, first strike from used pile. Here comes the drain of 2 at Polis Massa. I mean, Jeff's still cut very close here.
Yeah, he's at 17, and again, that's where. Yeah, it's a little interesting. Like you said it, if we see a Ben go down, drain or fight, get multiple battles in.
I mean, Ben's only going to get one battle in.
Well, I'm saying Ben and
Yeah.
Anakin here, but I think if you're,
Well,
I think
Anakin can't battle. Mara doesn't do anything until the end of this turn.
I thought it,
Clash is the end of your opponent's next turn.
she was already done with that. Okay, nope, you're
No.
right. So she is still
So
clashed.
Mara cannot be battled.
Yeah,
So it's like if Chris had had one more card in hand, you could have theorized the sorry Mara, drop Ben, battle Blizzard 4.
yeah,
And without that, he left 3. I don't understand leaving 3 because you're not
yeah.
swinging at Mara and
You're not going to get multiple destiny.
you don't have another saber to get. So I would have activated one more.
Well, what if it's wait, Ray's lightsaber doesn't take in effect, and Ahsoka with lightsaber.
We didn't see him lose it. Like
Ahsoka with lightsaber might be a card.
Ahsoka's lightsaber.
Ahsoka with lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, it could be, but like you'd want to retrieve, and Ahsoka doesn't retrieve. Like Ben
Uh,
Solo or Leia are
I'm not disagreeing with you, but the reason you want Ahsoka is at least you're getting rid of one of those drains.
you're getting rid
Where,
of whatever drain you drop on, you're getting rid of because you
yeah.
can't go at Vader.
Okay, there's a
I actually
Ray.
think Rey's probably the best option there, and there's the barrier.
Yeah.
Rey was potentially your best option. So now, if he uses Rey's use pile pull and can get a Leia, you drop Leia there as well and battle.
How are you battling? Doesn't she
She
cost
costs
4?
3.
Okay.
So, and you initiate where you have a Skywalker, you initiate battles for free.
Okay.
So yeah, Tom, she might be right. There may not be any Leias left. I think Chris is out.
But the other problem is
But he did block
Leia's,
the drain as well.
yeah.
Like now it's just a drain of 6. Here's Rey drawing the bottom card.
And
Chris is
I think you're right.
trying to get to every out.
You might want to move the Falcon this turn just to stop that drain of 2.
So 11, 12, 13, 17, 18, 19. What was the loss pile?
It was 15 to 32.
So I'm not necessarily sure you want to. I think you're blocking that drain. You take 6, and then you drain back for 4. You put Jeff at 15 at that point.
Yeah, but he has to win by 15.
Yeah, so if
Wait,
you're
how many
Chris
cards?
and you
How many? I thought
say
Chris had 14, or what was it?
Chris won by 15.
Oh,
Oh
he
no, Chris
won.
won by 14. You're right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
oh yeah, then I was going to say I think you can get him to 15,
Yeah.
but 14 is a little tighter. So, and I don't think there was anything else he could have done there. He draws up a few.
Put the card back with like my father.
Yeah, this is
I mean, taking the drain of 6, he's got 11 left. Yeah, he can't afford 2 more rounds of drains.
yeah, and honestly, like I think Jeff is perfectly willing, I think, to battle him at both the Dark Forest and the Forest Clearing and just take him as a wash
Uh,
and then move to a battleground.
yeah, then you move. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't leave them at the non-battlegrounds then, but all you want to do is just clear Rey and clear Anakin. So, and
Yeah.
Anakin is the more important of the two because Anakin can retrieve on a comeback battle.
Yes, 100%.
So you have to clear Anakin or you have to leave the Dark Forest. And I don't think you want to just leave the Dark Forest. And there, yep,
He
Jeff leaves 4, which
tells
sure
me
looks
that
like it's
it's going to be a battle at least twice.
it's going to be 2 battles.
And Wirfs has to lose everything in his hand, the 1 force that he has in his force pile, and a card off the top of his reserve deck.
Yep.
just to be able to like draw his destiny and swing this turn.
Yeah. So he'll get drained for 6. He'll drain for 4 back. Does he then have to move the Falcon in front of Slave 1 and hope?
I think so.
Like, the
But at the
problem
same
is
time, you also have to think this. Jeff can't draw any cards.
yeah. Well, no, Jeff can draw a couple. Like,
He can draw
there was a
2
Leia left in reserve.
and reflection.
The reflection doesn't matter. The Leia is I think that meant he could have grabbed Leia with that ray. So I'm not sure what he grabbed. I think he could have
Yeah.
grabbed Leia and dropped her and started a battle and retrieved. I think that might have been a mistake.
Yep. Anakin
If Chris could have
Skywalker.
done that,
And,
I think
yeah.
that should have been the play.
Okay, so Chris again has 5 left, 1 in hand. Jeff is at 19 hand and life. He's going to take 4 at least on Chris's next turn.
Yeah,
And
but I think he
this
only
is
takes 4.
yeah.
The only way he takes more than 4 is if one of these battles he misses
Well,
cracking
he's going to have
immunity, and there's no way that happens.
so he has to move both Vader and Kylo out. Like he has to move both of them at the during his move phase here.
Agreed.
So that way he has the resistance. Because if resistance gets turned off, it's because of drain of 3 and 2, which puts him down
Well,
to exactly 14.
more important than the resistance, if he loses those sights, he's not just going to sit and stare, because you're not staring at Anakin because you let Chris retrieve one. Then
I think you can actually stare at Rey.
I think you can, but I don't think I'd want to. The other side of the staring at Rey is Rey's down 4 power right now.
She's
After
down
you factor
5.
in her +1 to the
Yeah,
total. Well,
yeah.
but her +1 to the total, Rey's down 4 power. You can, in theory, do something there.
I don't necessarily like that.
The only reason
I'm
you do
taking
that
a
is if
page
you're
from
going to
you.
hit Anakin.
I mean, yeah,
You
you out power.
If you hit Anakin, that's the right play.
Yeah, don't
Without
hit
the
Anakin.
hit,
That's
you don't
what
outpower.
Chris took.
Yep.
And I
And
like the grab.
stacking it is totally fine. It takes a card out, so now a drain of 4. Now moving the Falcon is almost immaterial, because the drain of 4 still kills you.
Yeah.
And the drain of 4 is going to happen.
Now, if Anakin lives here, he won't.
I mean, the only way he does is if Jeff draws very low and Chris draws high. Now, Chris will draw high, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Jeff's got to draw like a 0. A 4 means Anakin dies.
Yeah, 14
doesn't matter. Anakin dies to attrition.
Yeah.
8. It doesn't matter. Anakin's not immune, so Anakin dies.
Yeah, I'm saying like you have to lose Anakin. You can't afford to lose the 5 Force.
Anakin's not immune, so.
I know.
Even if there's no way to not lose Anakin there.
Okay, so now
that he's down to 4, I think I'd be fine with just moving Vader and keeping Blizzard 1 there. So you got 14, 15, 16, 17 down. And 1 in hand. Hold on, wait a minute. Him playing that Tarkin though? I think he's got to move Slave 1. Yep.
Yeah, he does.
So, because he can't afford not to.
Yeah.
And now he gets drained for 2.
He's getting drained for 4 after he moves the Blizzard 1.
Oh my, yeah.
That's not.
Moving Blizzard 1 was a huge mistake.
So
they're 19 cards apart in Lost Pile.
He moves Kylo. He moves Kylo.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
They were 19 cards apart in Lost Pile, and they were 17 in the first game. So he's still actually
Chris
ahead
is
anyways.
actually still alive right now.
He
Like
drains for
the
2, he
drains won't
gets drained
kill
for
him.
3.
Uh,
Pyre is not interior.
yeah.
So, but I don't know what Chris is like. I don't think you can battle at Polis Massa. I mean, maybe you do.
I mean, it's one destiny to two.
Yeah, because Han just draws. Oh, Han adds one with Chewie, so it's 2-2. Oh yeah, you're
No.
only getting one because of the objective. So yeah, you can't battle at Polis Massa. Like
Unless Chris magically gets into a all wings combo that he has in his lost
so,
pile.
and Polis Massa is a drain -1.
Yeah.
So that's cute.
Yeah,
But if you move
exactly.
away from it, you're still giving up a total drain of 4.
Well, and it doesn't really come down to it because, like Tom says, you can't move Ray because she's going to be hit. You're going to lose the one force. You're losing the 3 to the drain. Like I just don't
Yeah,
see anything that Chris can do. Like Jeff is at
yeah.
16. Like Jeff is at 16.
Like in theory, if he drew a control to control the drain of 2 and then still survive and not get hit, but there's no way.
Well, then you just move Ray in front of the Blizzard 4.
Well, no, because if you then you're giving up a second drain of 2 and you don't have enough.
Well,
You
if you have
need
the
to,
control, you control the Vader drain.
yeah.
You take the drain at
Oh, you take
the
the drain at
clearing.
Kylo's site,
Yeah,
you leave the Falcon in front.
yeah.
The problem's going to be with the Falcon, you're giving up 2 draws there. He's going to draw high enough to kill both pilots, and then you can't pay to drain.
Well, you have to make sure that he draws because I mean it is immune less than 7, so
But he's drawing 2 Destiny, and his deck,
yeah,
he's not.
he's stacked. Yeah.
Jeff is not missing that draw. And I
I
think
mean,
Chris
he
is.
might. He might.
I would be real
Okay,
surprised.
so Chris is in his move phase. Let's see what he's going to do here. I just,
I don't think he's got an out.
yeah.
I can't think of an out he has. And especially with he activated and now left 1 Destiny. Like,
Well, the one destiny doesn't matter. Like
eh, I mean,
it
I guess,
doesn't
yeah, you're wherever you're
because if
going.
Kylo hits,
If Kylo hits, you lose that 1 no matter what.
yeah, and there's
If
only
Kylo
4 left,
misses,
you're
you draw
well. If Kylo
when you battle
misses,
in
Jeff
space.
loses the Force.
Yeah, but Jeff's got 16. He
Yeah,
can lose 1.
yeah.
And then you battle in space and you still end up with him below the he can't pay to drain.
Depending on what Chris has in his hand, but I mean, he's got to lose both cards in his hand and
Yep.
his
There
card in his
goes
Force pile.
Corn Horn from hand, and my
Yeah.
sister has it from hand. Yep, that is gonna be match. So Endor operations, EOPS won both ways.
I'm not saying it's over.
I am. It's so.
Yeah.
I'm not even. Well, I guess yeah. I'm not
Okay.
even sure I would have
Yeah. Now it's
won.
over. That's
Well,
five.
no,
That's
it's a
five
4.
guarantees.
That's a
Oh,
4.
it's a
He's got
4. He
a.
has to draw.
There's another 4. Now it's
Okay.
over.
Yeah.
All right.
So good job by Jeff coming back.
Congratulations to Jeff moving to taking that last spot in the top 4. Very well played. Way to come back from what was
Yeah.
definitely a rough early game. And congratulations to Chris. I mean, it's another top 8 Chris makes, he's, you know, just proves that there's a reason he's an amazing player. And he's another guy who's going to be in Ohio.
Yeah, boom. Another reason to
Chris
come out to
Wirfs is
Ohio.
guaranteed to be in Ohio. It'll be a blast.
Yeah. So again, thank you all for watching. It is always a pleasure. We are down to our top four. We still have the Retro GEMPC going on. We have, I believe it's Paul Todd Feldman against Timo Dussel. The winner of that match will take on Pat Johnson in the finals.
Yep,
So
Pat, who's every round has said he's pretty sure it will be his last. Well, Pat, now it will be your last round.
yeah, that's a good point.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this GEMPC has been awesome. We'll have the top four as soon as they get scheduled. And, otherwise there's going to be lots of live action. I'm going to Bespin Regionals this weekend on Saturday here in St. Paul, Minnesota. If you're around, show up. It's always a good time. And that's all I got.
Yeah, and I think that's all I got too. So again, thank y'all. Have a good night, and as always, may the force be with you. Take care.